Hello, and welcome back to Phoenix World Championship. Weekend number 7 is upon us, and we're joining you from the United Kingdom, where we are at the Brands Hatch circuit once again. The circus comes back to it after last year, and this time, well, preemptive apologies, we're not gonna have fancy graphics explaining what is going on in Championship and this circuit. Unfortunately, some technical issues preventing us from doing that, but since we do have some time to do just that very thing, I'm just gonna do it personally. How does it sound? Good? Good. Hello. So, we're gonna have 2 races this weekend, as per usual, 20 and 40-minute races plus 1 lap. And the drivers who start their qualifying laps now are gonna have to try and beat the last year's best qualifying time of 1 minute 15 seconds .754. This is the record set by McLaren team, and it is still the fastest lap to date by those guys. Currently, you see McLaren team at 1:16.226 being the fastest time. And they still have 6 minutes to do something about it. So I suggest they, well, start doing that. Photon Burst is, I believe, returning to the pit lane right now. And McLaren team is starting another flying lap of his. Currently looking at times, Photon Burst is at 1:16.9, Guns is 1:17.8. 1:18.7 for Nat James and 1:43.3 for Mr. Grander, who is definitely yet to set an actual fastest lap. So yes, the Brands Hatch circuit, a legendary, not good for Formula 1 anymore track in the British countryside, in particular in West Kingsdown, Kent. It's a relatively short 9-turn circuit, which has quite a lot of elevation and quite, pardon me, fuck all in terms of runoff areas. So we might see drivers overshooting the corners and getting stuck in the grass, which will have lots of adverse effects on where they are and their times. You see a start-finish straight, the Bram straight. McLaren team goes onto now and onto the right-hander, Better Kill Band, which he elects not to take. Thank you, Tim. Much appreciated my attempt of doing a rundown. There is Better Kill Band, driven by comment number 000 by Guns. It goes downhill, and there is a lot of severe understeer there. Down to Hillwoods Hill, through Druids Turn 2, and another downhill through Graham Hill into Graham Hill Bend, which will send your car wide on exit. You gotta watch track limits there as you head towards 30. Is the first proper hard left-hander on the track, goes uphill and a little bit blind on exit, so you gotta guess where that track ends as you head onto the speedy part of the track through Pilgrim's Drop onto the Hawthorne Hill and Hawthorne's Turn. 1/3 right-handers onto the Westfield. You slow down, drop a gear there, and the next turn is Sheen Curve. It's completely blind as you approach the crest, still turning while braking, and then onto Sterling's with a little bit of a drop on the apex. You want to use that and use the camber to rotate your car as you go onto the Clark Curve, the last right-hander, a very long one, with a crest and a drop at the end, with pretty much every single turn on that track not being a flat turn, which is definitely going to shake things up as a run-up goes. Goods is post 1:17.8 right now. Meanwhile, McLaren team posts 1:15.797. Jesus Christ. The guy is already in 15s, which is pretty rapid. Pretty rapid if you ask me. Just 2/10 from his own track record. Here goes Photon Burst, going for another run with 2:35 to go. He is currently sitting in second place comfortably almost a second behind his teammate, Jesus. Gotta warm up those tires and get a run going if he wants to challenge McLaren Tim for this race or for this title. You see the car is not really behaving well. 117.241 for Mr. Grinder, as he is sitting in third position. 6/10 ahead of his teammate Gunses, who is currently in fourth. We're gonna try and go on board with Ford and Burst as he tries to do something about Tim being, well, a second faster than everybody else right now. He is about to finish his warm-up lap. We have a yellow flag. That's from Mr. Grinder, who had a little bit of an issue in turn 4. Now rejoins the track and continues. And actually he is stopped and resetting to pits as we speak. So he might have another run if he rejoins the track right about now. That might be a problem for Ford and Burst, who is just on his fast lap, and you see Grinder right here rejoining the track in front of him, and he stops and sees the 28 in front of him. Great sportsmanship. That could have been a little bit ugly, and now we see Fordon trying his best to get the car rotated and getting the car going. You see a little bit of a slide coming out of turn 2, coming downhill for the third turn. The left-hander gotta stay on track, gotta respect the white line there to not have your time invalidated. And then you head uphill, you see nothing as you approach this turn. Still see nothing, and there is the turn exit, just sneaking up on you. This is a very, very difficult section, and now we're heading towards probably the fastest section of them all, as Gunses posts 117.215, going just less than 300ths of a second faster than his teammate, who now will have to respond. He will have one attempt to do so. McLaren team is in the pits. His qualifying is done. He feels pretty confident. He's not gonna break his own record from the last year, but he feels that's good enough. Neon Tiger posts 119.310, and Ford and Burst exits the last turn. Had to do a little bit of a lift. He's not gonna have enough time to post another lap, so this is gonna be it. And he does not improve. 116.654 is the best he can do. Mr. Grinder is onto the pit lane. He is not gonna be improving. We're looking for the next car that's gonna go. That's gonna be not James. Him, G-Man, and Waffles are yet to cross the finish line. They're all fighting for P5 as we speak. He's gonna be first to cross, then it's gonna be G-Man, and Waffles is gonna be the last one that still has the lap. The time has expired, so all of them are gonna finish just that attempt, and that's gonna be it. Navigating the last couple of turns is the number 73. Heading into the final turn, trying to just swing that car as wide as possible and exit, but then keep it tight towards the start-finish line. He posts a result that is not good enough. He stays in 7th. Waffles comes back into pits. He's not going to be improving, and the last car is G-Man, and no improvement from the American. And this is how we have our field for our race 1 grid. McLaren team on pole with his teammate Fonenburst in 2nd. Gunses and Mr. Grinder, 2 PRT gold cars, in 3rd and 4th. 5th place is G-Man, accompanied by Waffles. Not James in 7th, with Neon Tiger in 8th place. So we're gonna have just over 1 minute before the race begins. And, well, we're gonna wait and see if the inside line is gonna have a good start. The pole sitter McLaren team that we're looking at right now, he's gonna have the inside line, but that inside is on a little bit of a cambered part of a track. Like you see on the inside, it cambers a little bit, so the takeoff is gonna be pretty difficult. He has about 1 car length of an advantage, but if Odenburg can get a good start in, he might be in front by turn 1. This is the challenge of starting on pole on this track. It's definitely going to be an interesting start for, apologies, for everyone involved. And at this point, we have about 15 seconds to start. We do have our lights on, and imminently we're gonna begin the race as soon as those lights extinguish. Lights are on, off, and away we go for the 20-minute race. Green flag, green flag. We see a difficult start, but not good enough for his teammate, who's gonna settle for second. They're going side by side. Fortenberg's mighty wide, trying to settle for speed, not challenging his teammate, but staying in second place. Goods is looking for a line behind him, and he is getting challenged. We're getting DRS and fractions behind possible, so we're gonna keep an eye on that post race. But right now they're kind of line of stern behind, not challenging one another. The whole field is able to go through pretty well. Two Timberwolves cars are off to the races, with two PRT Gold cars chasing one another. Gunsis is going defensive. Mr. Grinder on the outside trying his luck. It's a difficult place to overtake. There is a touch! They both survived. They're slow. They're still banging wheels. And Waffles is right next to them. No love lost between two teammates as Grinder goes around the outside and into third place. There's now a little bit of a bottleneck behind them, as Waffles electing to not go through with it and sit behind for now. There is a move behind them. Not James looking for a move on G-Man. Not close enough to make it stick, but now there's a big gaggle of cars at the end of turn 1. Well, that's one way to start the race, boys. Two teammates definitely exchanging blows as we go towards lap 2 out of what looks like maybe 15, maybe a little bit more if we're lucky. But at this point, all to play for between all of them, and the leaders still close together, less than a second between McLaren team and Fortenberg. We gotta wait for DRS to come live on lap 3, and now Gunsis tries to go around the outside. He'll have to yield here, but he is very, very close, looking for that move on his teammate. Mr. Grider did not stop here and let him go by, so now he's gonna send it down the inside. They're still side by side, but now Gunsis has to yield before the next turn, which is definitely single file. Gunsis tried to send it, but the inside line means he had a slower exit speed, which did not let him come by, and that battle is gonna last quite a while unless it ends early in tragedy. Oh boy, and we're barely 3 minutes into the race, but Gunsis round the outside. Ultimate late braking, and he is round the outside and through to P3. Now Mr. Grinder is under fire from Waffles. The Swede is trying to get down the inside, and so far he is successful. Will he be able to stop in time? He does, but Grinder has some momentum, and down the inside G-Man is trying. Oh, that's a huge block from Waffles, not having any of it down the inside, forcing number 19 to yield, and now overtaking Grinder in the turn as well. Lots of just banging around between those cars. No love lost between any of them. There's a huge championship implications between all of those cars, including two PRT Gold cars. Waffles chasing them, and this car, G-Man down the inside, sends the car, stops in time, but now he's getting crossed over by number 20. Mr. Grinder still ahead, as a little bit hard by G-Man, too hard, and now he has a trip down the gravel trap and rejoins behind No James. What I was mentioning for implications, there is exactly 1 point difference between Monterey Sim Sports with one car of 73 No James and PRT Black, and the only participant of this car is number 19 G-Man. So now him ending up making a mistake and being behind causes his team to drop in the standings. Now he has to chase and try to overtake No James. This is a crucial change, and Mr. Grinder now under fire from the other participant in that battle, number 73 Not James selecting to go around the outside there to maybe get some extra speed. Did not exactly work out, but now we see Photon Burst being 3.5 seconds back now, completely out of DRS range. He must have made a mistake somewhere, because that gap was 1 second just earlier. His teammate is flying away as he's kind of stuck in no man's land. Goods is saying thank you very much for all that battle behind. Just getting a little bit of a gap from Waffles sitting in P3 and 4, but now we heard a little bit of a gravel noise and he is off. Sorry, Waffles able to take advantage of that mistake and claim P3. We heard Goods is going wide, exactly the same mistake as G-Man did, all by his own. And now we back, the battle for P3 is back on the menu, as Guns slots behind number 30 car of Waffles and his teammate in number 20. So much for a calm race, as Guns is sniffing the rear bumper of Waffles in P3. Meanwhile, behind we also do have a battle between Not James and G-Man, as you see on that wide angle. They're just half a second behind. Neon Tiger just 2.5 back, so if anything happens, he's there to pick up the garbage. A little bit more than 6 minutes into the race right now. We do have battle between teammates brewing. Waffles stays ahead, as now Guns is looking in his mirror, trying to not let his teammate through on a dive like before. Interested to see how this shakes out. Meanwhile, McLaren team gets another second worth of gap on his teammate. Photon Burst is not able to contend here. 117.1 being his fastest lap, 116.4 being the fastest lap for Tim, as they both cross the start-finish line, not being any faster than that. So Tim extends the gap. Now 000 down the inside. Goodsis tries his luck. Still side by side. Goodsis has to give some space on the outside. Now he has the inside line. Waffles tries his best to maintain the momentum and stays alongside as much as he can. So now he'll have the advantage into the next turn. Guns yields, and that means the number 20 might have a little bit of a run-up into the next left-hander. He pokes his nose in, but not close enough. They maintain line of stern, trying to get something done further on. Here's Goods once again trying to go around the outside. He completes the move, but Waffles with the late break in once again, and he stays ahead. Close battle between all three cars. Mr. Grinder behind all of them, looking for a gap, looking for an opportunity, while two ahead are trying to duke it out. 116.6 from Tim, and the response is 117.5 from Photon. No contention right now for these two, but behind them all of this is going on. But you see Gunses is trying to go around the outside once again. They're still close with each other, but now Waffles closes down the outside lane. That opens the inside for Gunses, but Waffles once again much later on the brakes. Something happened to Mr. Grinder. In all of that, we missed Mr. Grinder having an issue in turn 1 and falling down the order all the way down to 7th. He was close behind, but now he's nowhere near. He let Not James and G-Man by. Must have been an exit out of turn 1 that caused him that. But for now, we witnessed this battle again. Battle for P3, still side by side. Gunses on the outside trying to do something. Waffles tries to stay on the inside, but now he has to yield. Gunses makes this move stick, and now he is ahead. 11 seconds to Photon. This is not a battle for P2. This is a battle among themselves. And this is another battle behind them. This is G-Man and Not James, with Mr. Grinder having to claw back what he lost. Plenty of battles up and down the field. G-Man tries to go around the outside, maybe a crossover on the inside, but better getaway from this 73 teal BMW compared to an Audi, but Audi sends it down the inside, tries a crossover, tries to go inside, outside, around side, underside, anywhere he can find some place. And now he tries to move down the inside. 73 has to leave some space. And G-Man is finally through with a send, but now 73 tries to do basically the same thing, but not close enough. They're tripping all over each other. Very close racing. 19 now, a little bit of a wobble on exit and a bump. They're bashing and banging the bodies, trying to get as much space for themselves as possible. G-Man on the inside manages to get the car clear. Yes, he will throw a block, and now he's clear and finishes that pass for B number 5. Obviously that battle is not over just yet. This is just a swap for positions. Guns is now 1.1 second clear. That might be enough to let him survive for a little bit. Not James makes a mistake that puts him under fire from Mr. Grinder, and 1.5 seconds clear for G-Man. Again, this is championship implications for both drivers and both their teams. Mr. Grinder now just 2/10 behind Not James and looking for a move. 1:18 time for the German. 1:17.6 is his fastest. Oh, there's a lockup. Tries to keep this car going. A hard send for number 20. Not successful just yet, but both of them saved their cars to live to tell the tale. Close contention. Waffles is losing time compared to Gunsis. He does have DRS available to him, but it's not helping much. 1.6 between him and Gunsis. Another look down the inside for this green and gold Audi. No luck so far. 16.4 from our leader. 17 flat from Ford on burst. So the gap for the lead is still slowly increasing. Gunsis gets 3/10 over Waffles, who's been matched by G-Man. That race is not done there yet. G-Man just 3 seconds back. He might mount a comeback if Waffles makes a mistake, but the closest battle on track is right here, right now. Car number 20, Mr. Grinder, chasing the 73 BMW of Not James. Wide exit, gotta be careful with track limits. We do have head steward and race control here overlooking the drivers. So if somebody is not playing by the rules, they might get slapped with a penalty right here, right there. Right on time, and Mr. Grinder goes round the outside trying to squeeze his rival. Oh, there's a bond! Oh, and 20 is off and hits hard. There is a crash and around goes the car of Mr. Grinder. He was just tagged in the rear quarter panel, and nothing Mr. Grinder could have done there to avoid the trouble. Neo Tiger goes through the both of them, and now Grinder returns in dead last position. This is again championship implications. He was a fair distance away from his teammate, but it was still all up to play for. Not James has been somewhat slow. Neon Tiger is through. Possibly Not James wants to redress his error. And if we look at the championship order, Mr. Grinder was 48 points ahead of Waffles and 50 points behind Gunsis. He was in a little bit of a no man's land, but with Waffles being quite successful in this race in 4th position, Mr. Grinder now on pit lane, having to repair heavy damage to his car, which he sustained in that crash. So Not James is not gonna get what he wants right there. We'll see if they swap positions come the end of the race, which might save him a penalty, but this is definitely gonna be forwarded to the stewards with just 5 minutes to go in race 1. The closest battle right here Waffles is trying his best to chase Gunses for that podium position. Waffles has the opportunity to get ever so closer to Mr. Grinder with that 4th place. He now closed the gap by 2/10 with his fastest lap of the race, 17.6 for the Swedish driver. For 3rd position he would get 32 points, and for 8th place finish for Mr. Grinder that's 16, so that's 16 points off that gap. So it was 48, would be 32 if it finishes as it is. With just one race, this is a huge jump if he just manages to get close enough to Gunses. We have yellow flags for Neon Tiger, I believe. Trying to look at the car. Looked to be Neon Tiger, but he is going again, so must have been just a little bit off track, as Not James is ever so closer. Waffles 1.4 seconds behind. We go on board with the independent number 30 entry, who now tries his best to catch up to the Latvian in 3rd place. DRS wide open, they get 12 laps of DRS with 3 uses per lap, so plenty of uses for this race in particular. Even if you're in full DRS range, you might be able to use it for the entire duration. They basically matched each other, 9 thousandths of a second of difference on this lap between the two drivers. It's incredibly close between Gunses and Waffles, and Gunses off the track! The Latvian spins out all by himself and now is off the track and getting past. He has to yield for G-Man as well. Neon Tiger will be next, but Gunses struggles to turn his car around. There might be some severe damage on his car. Where is the next car? The next car is Neon Tiger. He is now taking the turn right behind. That's 2 positions lost. Waffles is now in podium position with even bigger championship implications for the Swede and the German in 8th place. Now the question is whether Gunses has severe damage with Neon Tiger chasing him. Remember, the gap between 2 teammates was 50 points and 54 points to Ford and Burst, so with that result that might as well close the chapter to P1 and P2. But now he is gifting Mr. Grind an extra opportunity to go. The car sails wide again. There's definitely something uncomfortable in this car, but is it drivable beyond that? Guns is definitely trying to see how bad it is. We're gonna wait and see. 118.5 for both Waffles and G-Man in front of him, so those gaps are pretty set. 2.2 for Neon Tiger as we head into 2.5 minutes to go. Gunses does not go to pit lane, so either he is fine with how the car handles, or he's trying to just nurse it home and limit his losses. We're gonna wait and see what happens on this lap, but for now the Latvian is just about able to get this car going. We do see his relative display on his dashboard. He is about 1/10 back, so he does not have an evident impact on his top speed compared to his normal time, but he's losing just a 10th here and a 10th there in every turn so far. 116.5 for McLaren team, not his fastest lap. He did set 116.3 before, which is the fastest lap of the race so far. 116.9 being the fastest lap for his rival Ford and Burst as they keep going on their 15th lap of the race. Looking at times, Gunses is able to match his pace. Looks like no permanent damage for the Latvian apart from damage to his timing. We do have a car. Stop, that's Waffles! Waffles is off and he's stationary. Now he's going. Waffles is down, and that means, well, Gunses is not gonna catch up. I have no idea what happened. He was just stationary, maybe stalled. He was appearing to face the right way, so might be some technical issue for the Latvian. What that means is the car number 19, the Audi of the PRT Black, is now in third by 4.5 seconds with less than a minute to go. G-Man is now in 3rd place, so if he does not make a mistake in these last couple of laps, the leader has crossed the line, so it's gonna be 2 more laps after this. If he does not make a major mistake, car number 19 will be a brand new entry to the PWC podium. I do not want to jinx him, so I'm gonna switch over to the 000. The Latvian Guns is trying to chase Waffles, who had an issue. We're not quite sure what kind of issue that is. That might be a permanent hardware issue. It might be just some driving error, which it did not look like based on how we caught the Swede on our screens. But he definitely gave away a position. He's 4.4 back and has 2 laps to get the position back. Definitely a difficult task, as McLaren team is gonna be getting towards the start-finish line just about now to start his final lap, which is gonna be his lap number 17. But at this point, Neon Tiger is losing to Gunses, but keeps his gap to Not James comfortable. Mr. Grinder not catching up. Well, I don't think he was able to catch up fast enough in any known universe. As McLaren team heads onto his final lap, looks like the gaps are pretty stable. Waffles is not closing in fast enough. I'm looking at his car right now, and he does not appear to have severe damage on front or the side, so whatever it was not a wall impact. Did not look like a crash either, but in any case, he did lose this position. So now we switch to our race leader. McLaren team is taking that run around the forest for one last time in this race with a comfortable 12-second lead. American navigating the final few turns of the lap. Now through Westfield, down the Dingledale and up the crest over the Sheen curve, trying to keep the car on track through Sterling's with a little bit of a crest. One more turn to go for our leader through Clearways and down into the Clark curve under the Dunlop Bridge for the last time. And McLaren team is your race winner for race number 13. Once again, the American reigns supreme. And we're gonna switch to the car that is probably most exciting for this race. G-Man 197002. Mr. Grinder finishes a lap down, so he's not gonna get anything from that difficult race for the German. But car number 19, the Audi from PRT Black, takes the penultimate turn, just one more with 4-second gap, and he alone is gonna beat his sister car, the sister team, and claim the podium for PRT Black. Brilliant drive for the other American driver in this series. Beautiful finish, no mistakes, and well-deserved 3rd place. Gunsis crosses the line in 5th behind Waffles. And Neon Tiger with a quiet race for him, but just keeping his nose clean and get the car home. He secures P6 in front of Not James, who is the last car to cross the line in 7th position, the last car on the lead lap. Another 1-2 for Timberwolves Racing. Pretty much no contest for those guys, as McLaren team gets 40 more points under his belt. Great race, and definitely deserving addition to that gang as they head down the back straight for number 19. G-Man with great podium finish. This is your picture of the day, these 3 drivers and your podium positions driving alongside each other. Brilliant camaraderie between the drivers, congratulating each other with a great race. And, well, some fantastic battles endured for car 19. And now, G-Man with, well, 3rd place over 7th place Not James is gonna get a hefty chunk of points for his team, getting his team ahead in the championship. So Not James is gonna try ever so harder in the remaining races to try and get this back. I believe team manager second. Also, well, now he's just getting impatient and putting his car into the wall at the end, trying to get some celebrations going. A little bit of donuts for the PRT black driver, and may say well-deserved donuts for him. Great race, and with that said, we're gonna have a little bit of a break before we return to race number 2 in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Norman Mitchell, standing here in front of BBC Wellness Center in Houston, Texas.
Mid-County area is where we're going. Port Arthur, Nederland, Port Neches.
We're in Canovanas, the shelter here in Puerto Rico.
We're here at Jardín Pushkin in Colonia Roma.
The hallmark of disasters is you have to do what you do, you just have to do more of it faster. 2017 has seen more large-scale emergencies in sequence than ever before in direct relief 70-year history. The people who know the most, have the most at stake, are going to do the best job with the resources they have are the ones who live there.
Just received a large shipment of critical medicine from Direct Relief.
Some gauze, some bandages for people that are managing the response and rescue efforts.
You're standing strong, united with every other organization providing primary care and critical access to those individuals who have been most impacted.
Does it improve the lives of people? That's the true measure of any technology or any new investment. And you hope to God that basic core human element is never lost, no matter how technologically advanced we get as people. So the human case has always been strong for what Direct Relief does. People who are poor or stuck in these terrible circumstances need help. That basic idea to listen, not impose, to be respectful and not arrogant is still as valid as it was in 1948. Principles really don't change, and I think Direct Relief, fortunately, started with good ones of being open-minded, kind of big-hearted with respect to people's needs, and hard-headed when it comes to other people's money. When you look back and think Direct Relief has played a significant role in many of the signature humanitarian events over the past 70 years, the combination of those characteristics has served the organization well, and they're sort of timeless. You're surrounded by inspiration if you see it. I think anytime, if you've never done something, or you've done something at one scale, it's scary to think how you can do it at 10 times the scale. But at the end of the basic decision was pretty easy. Why would we not do this when the signals were all pointing in the right direction? The dedication of the building is really a rededication to the cause, to the idea, and a commemoration to the people whose generosity made it possible. What it represents is a much greater capability to help more people with tools that we have embedded in it, with the experience of 70 years. To bring those together in this building so we can do more in the same efficient way we've always tried to do it is really exciting. And we are sobered by the challenge, but deeply thankful for the opportunity to keep doing what Direct Relief has been doing for the past 70 years.
It's going to be contact. Marco Bittman. He's out onto the runoff area.
Go fully into my car.
Keep going.
So this is extraordinary.
This is DTM, proper racing.
Lots and show for elephants.
当中的摩纳哥大奖赛。
Drive me down to the pine trees, looking for lost hopes and dreams. I feel you breathing in your heartbeat, spinning tires, set alight. Fire on the street. These concrete skies make pitch black nights. We carve our names with our headlights. Open your eyes and you will see. Home is you and me.
he's a bit of an idiot. He stopped. He stopped.
My wheels like, fuck you. I'm not turning.
I hit the wall, but I hit one of the bumps because I lost.
Heavy damage, heavy damage. Don't try to kill yourself.
GT3, get a GT3.
He's fucking idiots.
At least I think something bad happened to somebody in front of us. Welcome to Daytona. Checker flag. Fantastic job, everyone. Hello and welcome back to Phoenix World Championship, as we have just a little bit of time left before we start race 2. Here's a little bit of a standings on support series that you can join if you follow the links to the Discord provided in the description, I believe, somewhere, should be. Definitely on Twitch, not sure about YouTube. At this point, the championship is wrapping up, but it's still the same tracks we see every time. And with that said, the lights are about to be extinguished as we go towards the start of race number 2. 4 lights, 5 lights. And away we go for 40 minutes plus 1 lap of action. A lot of wheel spin for our leader, but he manages to get a relatively clean getaway from his teammate. A little bit of chaos further down the grid. Jimin is trying to save his P3 from Waffles. Meanwhile, 2 teammates, still a little bit of touch in between them. No love lost here, there, or anywhere between Mr. Grind and Gunsis. Gunsis drops down all the way to 6, and now not James pushes wide and hits Waffles. Both of them continue. Waffles on the outside still. James is trying to get the position, but not successfully just yet. He's trying to go to the inside, side by side between the 2 drivers, and side by side behind them between Gunsis and Mr. Grinder, as the German is trying to squeeze his way past. Waffles manages to complete the move and squeeze out, and there's a push, and there is a shove, and there is a crash. Waffles is off and into the wall. Not James manages to push yet another driver off, but meanwhile we're still having a bit of a battle between 2 teammates. Mr. Grinder around the outside and secures the spot. He is through. And after a disastrous start of the weekend in race 1, he will need all the points he can get. We're looking at not James and Waffles. Looks like there is an attempt of a redress from car 73. We have a gap of 7 seconds between them and the rest of the field. So it's definitely a gap to close, but it's not disastrous just yet. We'll still see what stewards say about that. Meanwhile, the battle continues for P4 between Mr. Grinder, Gunsis, and Neon Tiger is still behind them, looking to capitalize on any error those 2 guys make. Meanwhile, up top 3, McLaren team still safely in front of Ford on 2 seconds to him, and then 2.5 seconds further down is G-Man, still in 3rd position. He managed to fight back and managed to keep his nose clean while everybody else didn't. Another battle for P4. Gunsis goes on the inside, tries to not get squeezed, and still ends up behind. Looks like one of the best opportunities to pass. Oh, there's a little bit of a gravel touch. He loses momentum, but Neon Tiger is not close enough to capitalize on that. Looks like the best opportunity to pass comes out of turn 4, but the next turn is not really a good passing zone, so we see a lot of side-by-side action, but not too many overtakes between the drivers as they try to just survive those turns. 17.4 from McLaren team, nowhere near from the rest of the grid, as we see 18s and 19s all across the board. So the leader is flying away already. As we speak, we are just 3 minutes into the race and already 2.5 seconds between McLaren team and Ford and Burst. Quite a commanding lead already. All he needs to do now is not to enter closed pits and he'll be fine. As we continue to spectate this battle between 2 PRT gold cars, Mr. Grinder is through, and now he is able to secure some sort of a gap. Almost a second clear from his teammate. 1.1 seconds between two of them now. Looking at all the gaps, Waffles is closing the gap to Neon Tiger a little bit and pulling Not James along for the ride with him. Though it's more of a Neon Tiger losing the two drivers ahead than Waffles closing in on the PRT Gold duo. So that's gonna be a tough task. He might have to be creative with his race strategy to do something about it. Another second gain by McLaren team on Fordham Burst. Definitely a good haul, but we see a 17.9 and 17.8 from Grinder and Gunses, as Fordham Burst was posting 1.18, so it's a 4.1 second gap, but no, it's Jimin posting 1.18, sorry, my bad. It's Jimin posting 1.18, so definitely the drivers behind him are closing in. 3.6 seconds, but there's still a lot of racing to go. So might be sparks flying for the podium position later down the road. Meanwhile, 5 minutes in, nobody is bold enough to dive into the pit lane just yet. Nobody is confident about the tire deck to do a massive undercut. We're gonna... this circuit is very short, but it is prone to eating your tires based on a lot of medium to high speed corners all across, with a lot of elevation changes, compression and crests. Yellow flags. I'm trying to figure out who that is. That's G-Man, unfortunately. That's the driver I was talking about. Neon Tiger doing complimentary ride off the track. And that's G-Man from third position off the track. That would be in Shin Curve, exit of Shin Curve. So what usually happens there is driver extending the track a little bit too much. There is a little bit of AstroTurf, but further ahead that's a real grass, and it will turn your car around in a jiffy. So if he clipped that just a little bit, he would be sent around and onto the opposite wall. So now he is under fire from Neon Tiger, now 6 seconds behind Mr. Grinder and Gunses, who's not giving up the battle just yet. So now the task for G-Man is to stay ahead of Not James. It's the same task, but the podium might be oh so much further away now. Still a great weekend for the Americans so far. We'll see where it goes. Meanwhile, we are still looking for a battle between teammates. Gunses is doing a cheeky look down the inside, and well, Karma's a bitch who bites instantly. Having a cheeky look and having a cheeky dive a little bit too far onto the gravel and grass, losing about a second to his teammates. Still well within DRS range, but that's a lot of wasted space. 17.2 against 17.8 for two Timberwolves racing cars. Let's see where Grinder ends up in this equation. 1:17.8, he's basically matching phone numbers, but there's an 8-second gap between those two, so unless he's closing in, that's not gonna be really important. 19 flat for G-Man, 19.4 for Neon, 18.3 for Waffles, and 18.7 for Not James. So 7th and 8th gonna be closing in on 5th and 6th as the race continues. So we might see some battles there as the race goes on, or we might see some forced strategies as we continue, in case Waffles does not want to get stuck behind someone for extended periods of time. We'll see how it goes. Neon Tiger currently 6th with the slowest best lap. So definitely gonna be under fire from Waffles and James unless they make a mistake at some point of this race, as the gap still comes down, not considerably but steadily. That's what's important at this point in the race. Still a second between Gunses and Mr. Grinder. So we go on board with the Latvian. We're almost a quarter of the race through. We see negative 0.13 on the Delta display, which means the Latvian is hauling ass around the track right now. And let's see what ends up with the time. 17.2. It's the fastest lap for Gunses, and it's faster than Fordham Burst, so now he's closing in considerably and might be pushing the Dutchman if he keeps the pace up. Definitely a great lap from a Latvian who does not want to see that podium sneak away from him once again. This Semeno emission. He did beat his teammate in the previous race, but he does not want to give any opportunity any chance for that number 20 car ahead of him for redemption and chance into the final 3 weekends. This is weekend number 7, I remind you, the Brands Hatch. We're gonna have 3 more weekends, so 6 more races this season after that one. It's gonna be TTS in the Netherlands next, followed by 2 German race weekends, the Nürburgring and the Hockenheim, ending it all later in the fall. So stay tuned for the conclusion of all the battles in the championship. Podium still up for grabs. Gunses is leading, but making mistakes here and there. Might still not be settled for third, though it might not be good news for Waffles, who would be along with Mr. Grinder, the one who fight for that position, as he now finds himself still in 7th place, although rapidly catching P5 and 6. Kunzes continues his charge closer to Mr. Grinder, and together you see Foden made a mistake, and you see that Timberwolves Mercedes right ahead now, just 3 seconds. Used to be 8, it was closing a little bit, but now Foden made a mistake, 11 seconds back from his teammate and 3 ahead of this duo. So we might see a 3-way battle soon enough if Grinder and Gunses keep their pace up, trying to outrun each other. Now it's interesting to see the team manager of PRT Gold mentioned that there will not be any team tactics involved and they're free to race each other. So it's up to drivers to decide what they want to do and what they're gonna do. And primarily right now it's for Grinder to decide if he wants to fight or if he wants to let Gunses through, as he is the faster car at the moment, and try to stay with him, try to catch Foden burst, pass him, and then figure it out among themselves. Right now, evidently Mr. Grinder does not want the Latvian in front of him. He closes the door on the inside and keeps him behind. 3.2, 3.1 to Foden, so they're slowly catching the Dutchman together. The thing is, Gunses undoubtedly uses quite a lot of DRS behind, so if the swap happens, it would have to be in the second part of a race if they're both to maximize their DRS. Once again, the team management is not in the equation for this conversation and these options. It has to purely come between the 2 drivers of the team. And I'm not sure there's gonna be any communication between those 2, considering how much they fought each other throughout this season. We are slowly but steadily approaching the halfway point. A little bit of a battle up from Foden burst, 16.761, which is the new lap record for this race for McLaren team. 17.2 from Foden, good answer from the Dutchman. 17.8 for both PRT Gold cars. So definitely fighting amongst themselves is not helping them close the gap to P2. Now another question for Gunses is whether he wants to try an undercut. He seems to be a little bit stuck behind his teammate. He gets DRS, but he seems to be getting off the line a couple of times, especially in turn 1, trying to not lead to a crash or anything. Meanwhile, we have to switch back to this battle. This is a battle for P5 as Waffles caught up to Neon Tiger, who caught up to G-Man. This is a 3-way battle. Now James 3.5 seconds back from that. Series championship implications for both G-Man, with no James catching, and Waffles, with 2 PRT Gold cars scrambling ahead of him. Neon Tiger sits in his own little bubble in the championship right now, as I try to look what his bubble looks like. He's currently in 7th. He is, though, 28 points behind G-Man before this round, and he is 47 points clear of not James. So it's definitely still all to play for Neon Tiger, who missed the previous round. Due to the drop week, he is still entitled to his full amount of points for the championship. But now, as G-Man got a podium, and now G-Man is ahead of him, the number 12 BMW might want to think about that overtake and might think about getting past, but Instead, he is getting passed by Waffles, who is through into P6 and will now be chasing G-Man for P number 5. The battle continues. The battle also continues behind Gunsis and Mr. Grinder, still together and still fighting for it. It's gonna be, well, unless something happens, which usually does, it might be a battle to the end. We are gonna go on board with number 30, the Audi of Waffles, with letterbox wide open, trying to chase down number 19, G-Man. And with that view, we're gonna leave you to our first Pure Sound of the night. And as we return from Pure Sound segment, everything is happening. A mistake from Mr. Grinder drops him behind Gunsley. He had a 2-second gap. Now he's 2 seconds behind his teammate. Just dropped a wheel off the track in turn 2. Lost the car, and now he's behind. But G-Man is the first car to drop onto the pit lane 3 minutes before the halfway point of the race. So he's gonna be the first one onto the new tire, first one to warm it up, and might be able to get a little bit of undercut as he was starting to defend from Waffles. Let's see if that triggers a wave, or drivers will try to maintain composure, maintain their own pace. Neon Tiger still chasing down Waffles, who now doesn't have an opportunity to use his DRS starting from the next lap, so it might be a good advantage to the American in his battle against G-Man. If Waffles turns up the pace and manages to take Neon along for the ride and maybe even yield to him eventually under his attacks, it might be a good haul for number 12 BMW. So far he is a little bit slower, 3/10 slower on the previous lap, but now he has DRS open. DRS is closed for the Swede ahead of him. And we'll see how this goes. Meanwhile, 2 seconds still between Gunsis and Mr. Grinder. Not James, not having the greatest race of his life now. 5 seconds behind Neon Tiger. And he lost about 1.5 seconds from the last time we mentioned his name. G-Man now in the last place, but now he's gonna have a brand new set of warmed up tires. So now we gotta look out for his times in comparison to everybody else involved. Looks like nobody else is looking for a pit lane. We are approaching the halfway point of the race, and the drivers are still battling and still refusing to get onto the pit lane to change their tires for the mandatory pit stop. 17.5 from Grinder. He closed the gap by 0.3 of a second, 1.7 now. Guns's pretty much lost Photon Burst at this point, who is now having almost a 9-second lead over the duo of Audis. 18.5 and 18.7 between Waffles and Neon. Waffles turning up the pace, but still losing out. He is firmly in DRS though. This is gonna help him immensely, even if he does not get past Waffles. An important development for G-Man, as now he's all alone, but he's on brand new tires. Important question is, what is faster? Brand new tires or Slipstream and DRS? 18.9 from G-Man, still getting his tires up into temps. 18.7 was his fastest lap. And, well, here we go. Here's the first sign of action from the leaders, as McLaren team, our race leader, is on the pit lane. The race lead is gonna change as Photon goes through. The now interesting question is that there might be other cars coming through, as Gunses is on pit lane. That might have saved McLaren team from having to defend, as the Latvian would be the closest car to him behind. Mr. Grinder continues. There are 5 seconds between him and McLaren team. Let's see how much that closes down by the time Team warms up his tire. Waffles comes through past Gunses, and there is Neon Tiger, and he is gonna go around. This is probably the worst case scenario for Gunses. He's gonna have brand new tires and he has nowhere to go with them. He's gonna be trapped behind two cars. Yes, he has DRS, but it might not help in such short time frame. He has to get close and get around. So Mr. Grinder might have an upper hand. 119 flat for G-Man. That's not good enough. He's not approaching his rivals quickly enough. But once again, his tires are warm, while the rivals won't be. 3.9 for Mr. Grinder. So he gained about 1 second after Tim's pit stop. So we can look at maximum and minimum gaps you can expect to hit, and for times to adjust after the pit stop. We're looking at a couple of seconds maybe on cold tires, the lost until they warm up and the driver starts accelerating again. 1.5 between Waffles and Neon Tiger. Neon Tiger still sits in the draft and still trying to find his way with Waffles, or past Waffles, but most importantly past G-Man. This is the distinct rivalry, and now he loses the chance as Waffles is the next car in the pits. This is a crucial battle for mid-pack. We're gonna wait and see. Oh, he misses his pit box. Waffles misses his pit box and loses valuable time. Now we're gonna see where G-Man is. There is G-Man going on to the start-finish straight. Waffles is exiting the pits. They're gonna be right next to each other. Approaching his car number 19 on hot and ready tires. 18 flat. The first truly fast lap for G-Man propels him up to 7th place currently. Waffles is behind and he needs to warm up his tires. It's gonna be at least 2.5 seconds based on previous calculations, and G-Man is flying on the track right now. 17.3 for Photon Burst. The next will be McLaren team. Let's see if he warmed up. 16.8. It's another statement from our race leader. His tires are warm and he is ready to go. 17.7 from Mr. Grinder. And this is going to be important to compare to Gunses' time. 17.7. And Gunses is going to be about 10 seconds later to the party, as he is now chasing Neon Tiger. Neon Tiger jumps into the pit lane, so no more DRS from a Latvian at this point. 17.8. Not much change. Now James goes through, he still has to pit. This is the continuation of a battle for mid-pack. Where is Neon Tiger gonna exit? He is close to Waffles. There we see G-Man exiting the last turn. He has hot tires, but is he close enough? We hear the engine roar, and we see him pushing round the outside, and he tries to get him right here, right then, and he does. Oh, it's a slide for Neon Tiger. That's unfortunate. He's gonna lose a position to Waffles. The cold tires out of a pit lane strike. He's close enough. He's close, and his tires are not much colder, just 1 lap. So if he gets it going, he has an opportunity to catch. We heard a little bit of a tire squeal from Waffles ahead, but now it's a little bit broken up. But G-Man, with a good tactic, managed to get a couple of seconds ahead and save himself a few minutes of trouble. And there is the battle for podium. Mr. Grinder on the pit lane. We're gonna be with Gunses here. 000. Did he do enough to get ahead? This is the main question. He's there. Can he see the car? Yes, he can, but it's far ahead. He has brand new hot set of tires. And now he has about 2 laps to catch Grinder off guard while he's still warming up. He's right there. He needs to get the pass done. Now James is in the pits, the last car in the pits. We would love to show you the battle for 5 through 8th. But this is the battle for the podium right now. Guns is down the inside, tries to get past. And does so for now. Around the outside, tries to go Grinder. Not James rejoins in front of Neon Tiger, but it's 1.5 seconds. There's definitely gonna be a battle. Mr. Grinder on the outside trying to use those brand new tires. They're gonna be livelier than his rivals, but for now he loses the position. Fortenburst is the last car in the pit lane. I don't think there's gonna be any drama here. But now the battle. Neon Tiger is trying to get around number 73, who has cold rubber. It's gonna be difficult for him to stay on the track and be efficient. Number 12 BMW looking for a send around the outside. Will he be able to outbrake? He's trying, he's looking, he's not going. He has a limited window of opportunity to do so. Mr. Grinder is second behind. He'll have to wait for a pass. Neon Tiger looking, waiting. Don't wait for too long. 0.2 seconds between those two. Gunses gets in front of Photon. Something happened on pit road. I was about to say nothing's gonna happen. And the commentator's curse strikes immediately as the Dutchman loses 2 positions on pit lane and rejoins in 4th. He'll need to warm up his tire and get going. And now he has to get through 2 Audis. This is a change nobody expected, but this is gonna make the last 15 minutes or so of the race so more exciting. We're looking at Neon Tiger, who's trying to get something done for 7th position. Waffles 2.3 behind G-Man. He's gonna be closing in. But who's closing in as well is Mr. Grinder on Gunses. We have too many battles all over the track. That's gonna be exciting till the very end. Mr. Grinder 0.3 looking to get his place back that he lost during the pit cycle from Gunses. We have 13 minutes of action left. And oh boy, we have plenty of action for you. 2.5 back for Fortin Burst. He will need to claw that back. He's in theory the fastest car of the 3. He's the only one in that battle who posted the fastest lap of 1:16s, but 1:17.2 from Mr. Grinder. And it's definitely gonna be a tough task for the Dutchman to get closer. 2 seconds between G-Man and Waffles. Neon Tiger now 1 second behind. Not the best couple of laps from number 12, who is gonna try. He's still in DRS range. He's still gonna push as much as he possibly can. Another 10th gain by Waffles on G-Man. 4 tenths lost by Neon Tiger, not James, who posted his fastest lap of the race. So that's a big push from the 73 car to stay ahead. All points matter. Now James 2 positions behind G-Man. He tries to cut his losses and make sure he doesn't lose as many points this weekend to strike back in the remaining races of the season. The battle for 3rd continues. This is what we're spectating. The car on your background is Fortin Burst, who was 2nd for the entire race, but due to some issue on pit lane, he is now down to 4th and is chasing the duo of PRT Golds. Looking further down, Waffles 1.7 behind. He's closing the gap, but will he have enough time? 17.2 from Gunses, 17.5 from Grinder, 17.4 from Photon. All close together, all matching times, but Photon needs it's not enough to be matching. He needs to be faster than them. 1.4 between G-Man and Waffles. Still about a second between Not James and Neon Tiger as they navigate towards the end of the lap through the final turn. This is the visual gap between number 19 and number 30 for 5th. But now we have to go here. This is the probably one of the most crucial battles of the weekend. A three-way battle for podium position, 2 of those positions. 2nd, 3rd and 4th right behind. Looking at the entire field, but now we're gonna have to go on board with Mr. Grinder, and that might be our last opportunity of Calm Before the Storm to go to pure sound. The tiniest mistake from Gunses, and that's all it took for Grinder to get ahead. But now the battle continues. Gunses tries to get his place back. All of that caused Photon Burst from the Timberwolves to get close to those two, and now it's a proper three-way battle. Gunses makes his way past, and he's now in 2nd position. The PIT goals need to be careful. This is where the lack of team tactics might come back to bite them. They're now holding 2 podium positions, but Photon Burst, because of that battle, is now right behind them. The Dutchman will try everything he can to get by. Meanwhile, Waffles lost a little bit of time. G-Man is holding on to dear life to his 5th position, but now this battle is everything. Photon is sitting behind. It's difficult for him. It's a difficult position to be in because the car he needs to overtake also has DRS. So he will not have any speed advantage on the straight besides your general drag, which you don't get too much at Brands Hatch. It's too short of a circuit with too short of a straight. So now it's a difficult situation for him, but also a difficult situation for Mr. Grinder, who ends up having to defend and attack at the same time, but also a difficult situation for Gunses, who is the only one in this bunch not having a DRS available. Three-way battle is a difficult situation for literally everyone involved. 17 flat from Gunses. That's a statement as the Latvian tries to fly away. His teammate hangs on, looking to defend from Photon Burst, and at the same time maybe capitulate on another mistake from his Latvian teammate. Three-way battle continues. Waffles is now close. 1 second between him and G-Man. Looking at the boards, see what's going on. Not James and Neon Tiger close to each other as well. 0.3 between them. Not the best of exits from Not James, but Neon Tiger not able to capitulate on that. The tires warmed up for both, so now it's gonna be a pure race for position. Nobody's gonna overtake anybody on pit cycle anymore. Going back, Mr. Grinder, who is generally better through middle sector than Gunses, is still right behind and closing in. Photon Burst seems to be waiting, but we have 7 minutes to go. You can't wait for too long, or you're just gonna run out of time to do anything. The battles are heating up. There's another battle. Waffles and G-Man are close to each other and fighting for position. There we go, side by side. Mr. Grinder on the inside. Another mistake by Gunses, letting him open, and here goes Photon Burst. And a mistake from Gunses. Loses the car on the brakes, and he's off. And here go his dreams. He now has to refire the car and keep it going in a vaguely right direction. He does so right in front of G-Man. Now it's a straight battle between Grinder and Photon for second place. It's not over yet. Nobody breathe. Waffles is getting a good lap in. Now he's on the tail of G-Man. Neon Tiger on tail of Not James. We still have 3 battles. Now the bother for Neon Tiger is that the leader, you can see him right here in the background, McLaren Tim, is catching up and about to lap them. There you can see his car appearing. So if he wants to make the pass stick, he might want to hurry up or use the faster car. It's one of those things that might just work out. We do have battles all around the track and it's spectacularly exciting. 5 minutes to go. We basically had battles all throughout this race. I don't think we had any moments of downtime on track, and this is spectacular for just an 8-car field. Once again, relatively small, but so tightly packed that it does not exactly matter. 17.3 from Mr. Grinder, another statement, winning 7/10 from Photon Burst, who's now a second back. The Dutchman needs to recharge and try to attack again. Neon Tiger, the closest car to an overtake, 2/10 behind. Not James, the letterbox, certainly wide open on that car 12 from BMW. G-Man and Waffles matching each other's time, 1:18 flat for both. Nobody wants to miss out on that. With under 5 minutes, we are 28 laps deep into this race. We're gonna have about another 5, maybe 4, depending on how we're gonna go. Oh, so close. Almost a touch down the rear from Neon Tiger and Not James. Waffles is closing in. Waffles is 2/10 back, and now would be the best chance of his to attack car number 19. Will there be heavy defense? Will it be anything? Waffles looks down the inside, tries to go for it. Not close enough, and he's not there. He is still in 6th place. Still very close, but not close enough. And there is an opportunity to pass. Neon Tiger looking, but Not James defends with all his might. We have battles going everywhere. Photon Burst 1 second behind. I'm trying to switch back and forth, try to catch all the action. Waffles using all of the available track and then some on the grass to try and gain any sort of an advantage over car 19. Better exit for G-Man, but better DRS and draft for Waffles. Will he be able to send it down the inside? Not here, not quite. A little bit wide for car 19, but he manages to get all the speed he needs coming down. Another attempted send from Waffles down the inside. He is not clear enough. Meanwhile, behind him, Neon Tiger tries to go round the outside. We have too many battles to concentrate on. How do they do it in professional TV booth? I have no idea. Waffles on the inside looking for yet another move. This time he sticks his nose in, but he wobbles. He wobbles on the apex, and that's not good enough. He loses out, and now he's gonna have to close the gap down again. Meanwhile, behind them, the battle continues. Neon Tiger a little bit wide. The leader is right behind them. Photon Burst 6/10 back from Mr. Grinder. The battle is on again. 3 battles on the road. 16.950. The best personal lap from Photon Burst and the best lap from anyone not named McLaren Team in this race. Neon Tiger lost a little bit of ground. Now there is team behind him. Let's see if he tries to use it against him. Gunses with a great time, but he is in no man's land. Waffles once again right behind G-Man. G-Man doing a little bit of a cheeky move, not accelerating off the line as fast as he probably should have. All within his reins, making the car behind him check up a little bit. A big slide from 19. There's an opportunity, but he manages to close it off. But can he close off this move? Round the outside he tries. Waffles not able to get the move done. 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go plus 1 lap. Neon Tiger now lets team through. Let's see if he's able to get anything done with the race leader in between him and Not James. We will to use him. But for now we have to concentrate on this. We're looking at other fights. But this is the battle that has been brewing for a while. It is now providing a lot of sparks. G-Man is holding on for dear life as Waffles, car number 30, is trying to attack a lot of track extension going on as much as they can get away with. But now the gap is still at half a second. The gap between Photon and Grinder is still at half a second. Neon Tiger made a mistake as we switched to him, and I believe the battle is over there for 7th position, but we still have everything going on. McLaren team, as we saw, is now approaching the final turn with 1 minute to go. So it's gonna be this lap and then another. So we're gonna have 2 laps for everyone as Tim crosses line now. 118 flat. He's taking a little bit of time. 2 laps at the end of this lap for everybody. 2 laps to make something happen. 1.2 behind Neon and not James. He used the race leader to get slightly closer. The battle is still in our hands. We still have 3 battles as the timer is in its last minute. I'm pretty sure I had raised voice for the last half an hour, but we're gonna stay there and might go even higher as the race concludes. 20 seconds on the clock. 16.8 by Photon Burst, 17.1 from Mr. Grinder. As close as you can. 2 laps to go. Photon is mounting a charge and now pressuring him as much as you can. Speaking of pressure, Waffles once again behind G-Man. Both battles are off the scale. 2 laps to go for this battle. 2 laps to go now. 1.5 probably lap to go for P2, and a little bit more than 2 laps for P7. Waffles looks for a move inside. He has to wobble a little bit on the brakes, a little bit too late. So now he has to check up a little and lose a bit of time. Photon Burst still half a second back. Neon Tiger 0.8 back. The man is on a mission. The leader is on the final lap of the race. He lapped P7, so they don't have 2 and a bit, they just have 1. They have to settle for 1 lap of battle. And we're looking at every battle imaginable. The duo, Mr. Grinder and Photon, now heading onto the final lap. They're gonna have 1 opportunity around this track to get something done. The next battle, G-Man and Waffles are staying right in front of a leader. So that's gonna be the next one. They're gonna have 1 more lap as well to get something done. Waffles a little bit further back than he would like to be. But they're gonna be having white flag. Waffles on the grass. That's definitely not gonna help his time any. Half a second between Photon and Mr. Grinder. Half a second between G-Man and Waffles as they hit white flag. And right behind him, McLaren team is gonna claim the victory and the sweep of the weekend. Behind him we have to switch. The first battle concludes as not James able to just stay ahead of Neon Tiger. We switch back. 2 battles. 2 hot battles of the race going on. Timberwolves racing, number 28, Photon Burst. 4 tenths behind Mr. Grinder on the final lap. There's gonna be a sand, and if it's gonna be hard. There is a battle here. We have to switch to it. It's now or never. A little bit of a wobble from G-Man. He has to defend with all his might. He's on the inside, but he lost a little bit of momentum. Can he hold on? There's a battle off the last corner. And there's another battle happening here. There's a bit of a touch. Waffles is off. But now we see Mr. Grinder just ahead. We saw at the line Mr. Grinder was just ahead of Photon Burst. There is an investigation with tire change for Photon Burst. We're gonna see it after the race. But this battle is still going on. There was an attempt, maybe a little bit too much of a body contact as they head towards the final turn. G-Man and Waffles, 0.2 of a seconds. 1 turn to end it all. Let's see, Waffles tries to go around the outside too deep. And into the gravel he goes. There's not gonna be an overtake on track. As for now, G-Man keeps P5 from Waffles. I am out of breath, out of voice, and out of words. What a brilliant race from everybody involved. And the race, which was once again won by McLaren Tim, who is cementing his position as the driver to beat. What a brilliant performance from the 71 once again. Holy Mother of God. What a race. What a spectacular race. Whew. Brilliant race from car that finished in second, Mr. Grinder. That's the car we are following now, the car number 20. Made sure to stay ahead from his rival. Just ahead of him, less than a tenth behind him at the line. But good enough to secure P2 in his battle against Gunsis. Championship implications once again for the German after disappointing end to race 1. He is right back at it, and he's not gonna stop until the very last race. So now we're gonna try to capture a couple of guys in our booth before we end as per usual. Let's see, who do we have available to us? Well, as per tradition, let's try to grab our race winner first. McLaren Tim, do you hear us?
Yeah, how's it going?
Hello, hello. Well, that was sort of uneventful for you, but once again, command and lead, another win, and even more of a gap for you in the championship. Ford Burst had a little bit of an issue in race 2 as well. Just 6 races to go. How confident are you looking at the remainder of this championship?
I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I take it on a race by race basis, like especially for this weekend. I was just focused on well, because Brands Hatch isn't my strongest track, and furthermore, it's kind of like the margins of error and the high speeds around this place are just way too close together. So yeah, I was really focused on making sure I had a clean weekend, protect myself from mistakes, and it looks like this one went pretty well. So yeah, like I said, it'll just be a weekend by weekend basis until the end. And it was
definitely a good weekend, complete sweep. Pretty sure you saw nobody apart from the 2 guys you lapped at the end of race 2 throughout your entire weekend. We saw a little bit of a struggle for you to get off the line in both races, a long black tire line as you accelerate. We know that the inside line is a little bit hard to start in Brands Hatch in particular. Did you practice the start? Was that somewhat of an error for you, or just the quirk of the track, so to say?
Yeah, like the inside, when you start, because it's sloped to the right, downward, your rear kind of steps out in that direction when you spin the tires up. And so that's what it like points you to the left. And yeah, it was definitely scary. Race 1 was kind of, it was getting really loose, so to say. In the second one, it was actually pretty good. I managed to wait for all the wheel spin to stop, then I was able to power out of there, and I got a good start for race 2. So yeah, definitely a quirk of the track, but also I did do my practice, so.
Well, it definitely paid off. Congratulations with a great result, and I'll see you in TTS and for the next race weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Georgian, for the show.
Thanks. Alright, we got our leader now. Let's talk, well, before we talk to his teammate, let's talk to, in my opinion, the hero of this weekend. Do you hear us?
I do.
What a weekend for you. It started off with a little bit of a tough qualifying, but in the end, I believe your first ever podium in PWC, and one hell of a defense for the majority of the race too. Tell us how you just feel about this whole weekend for you.
I actually cried after I got my first podium, to be honest. I knew that next weekend at PEC there might not be enough people in my class to challenge me, so I might have gotten my first podium by default next weekend. So I'm so glad that I could have gotten it this weekend, and I fought as hard as I could and did some practice for this race beforehand, more than I usually do, and it was just really, really tough.
Yeah, it was definitely, you're definitely challenged by a few guys here, there, and everywhere. And in the second race, you held back Waffles for the majority of the race, especially right at the end on the last lap. We had to switch back and forth with yet another battle. There was a little bit of a car contact there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I didn't see the contact on my screen, but Waffle said that I was lagging, so I have a feeling that there was a little bit of lag involved. But yeah, I didn't mean to contact him, but it was still pretty close. And I made a mistake on that last corner. I feel like if he hadn't also made a mistake, he might have been able to get me there.
Definitely both of you pushing. With that said, with the not the greatest weekend from James and Monterey Simsport, you now get a command and lead in that battle in the championship, with the next track being TT Assen. Do you feel more or less confident that you can build on that success and on that gap?
I like Assen. I think it's a good track, and I'll be excited to practice for it. And yeah, I think, you know, James is pretty close to my pace, but it's always fun to fight with him. And we'll just try to keep this league building up.
Well, good luck to you with that, and congratulations for the great weekend.
Thank you.
Alright, let's see who else we can grab. Well, the obvious choice of who we can grab is the guy that can probably explain what happened in that pit cycle. Hello, Fodon.
Hello.
So you had what looked like an easy weekend in second place for you, but all of a sudden rejoined behind and having to fight for your life. What happened there?
Well, just stupid mistake of having my tire pressure set in the setup, but not taking the tire to be like switched in the pit stop. So I went into my box, that all went pretty well, and then I suddenly realized that nothing was changing, and I looked over to the pit menu and I saw that the tire wasn't selected, so I had to select that and then reverse and then go back in, but because it's uphill, of course, I almost stalled it, so yeah, I just lost a lot of time there.
Wow, and well, unfortunate there, but the three-way battle between you and PRT Gold Cars till the very end. We switched there at the last possible moment as we had to spectate yet another battle as well, but I believe it was less than a 10th at the line?
Yeah, it's a shame you guys were missed out on that then. Yeah, basically I ran out of DRS on the last lap, so I didn't have DRS for that one actually. And I saw that Grinder was just making mistakes. I think he had about the same tire life as me. But yeah, he was just making mistakes, sliding a little bit, going wide. He went wide in a couple places. And yeah, I just caught up on him on the final straight. I picked up a draft. And then he tried to take it easy through the final turn so that he wouldn't go off. And I just took my normal line. So we were basically bumper to bumper going across the start-finish line.
We definitely got the last moment as you crossed the line side by side. We didn't see what built up to that, but that definitely sounds like an exciting race. Well, now you are probably in no man's land a little bit, in second in the championship. So how are you prepared? How are you mentally preparing yourself mostly for the remaining 3 races, the TTS and next, Nürburgring and Hockenheim?
Well, probably better than I did for this round. Like for this round, I had a lot of obligations to do just in real life. So the only practice that I did for this round was basically about 1.5 hours in the online servers. That was about all of the practice that I did for this week. And I think that showed. I think I really, I got very confident in the second race especially. And then I made a mistake in Paddock Hill because I just dived into it too fast because I got very confident even though the car just couldn't handle it. So yeah, I think that also explains the massive gap between Tim and me. Tim just probably did a normal week with a lot of practice, or at least his usual amount of practice. And I barely practiced at all. So yeah, I think that kind of plays into it. And yeah, I guess I'll just have to step up my game and really put in some more effort for the coming weeks to have a little bit of a better shot at maybe challenging Tim a bit more.
Well, good luck to you with that. Looking forward to more team battles and maybe more battles with PRT Golds if they catch up to y'all. And yeah, good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Alright, let's see if we can grab someone else. I don't think we... Oh, hold on. I think we have time for one more. I do think we have time for one more. And I have to grab this guy. Hello, Gunsis.
Hello, hello.
Well, that was definitely a well and truly entertaining weekend for you, shall I say?
Yeah, I guess you can call it entertaining. Did some PRS in the both races.
So was the car just loose for you? We saw a few spins and obviously got the spin that cost you a podium battle at the end as you were duking it out with Photon and Grinder.
Yeah, it didn't help that our team owner / engineer was missing for the whole week, so we had to do what we could with our cars. I just grabbed my Moonshell setup, added some more wing, and just went with it. It was more or less stable, and in the first race I just spun on my own, and in the second race Photon just jump scared me.
Well, as you called out your team engineer, I'm gonna keep on that topic, as before the race we got yet another reassurance that both drivers in your team are cleared to engage each other and cleared to race, and we saw that might have hurt both of you a little bit, as while battling it out, first of all Photon drove away in the first part of race 2, and then Photon caught up and was basically introduced into the fight. Are you personally okay with that, well, clear to race however you want policy of your team, or would you want more strategic involvement at times like this?
No, I think it's fine that we fight each other, even if it costs a little bit in the field. I mean, normally Photon would be ahead of us, and he would just drive away anyway, even if we weren't battling. But when he was behind us, I mean, I think all of us wanted a good three-way battle. So I think it's fine that we can fight each other, and we don't have to just try to run away.
Okay, well, interesting flip-flop between two of you this weekend. Obviously, Grinder had a collision in the first race, which dropped him to the last place, and in the second round, he managed to beat you with a bit of an error. So, if my math is correct, you still got a couple of points over him, but obviously nothing too stable. With 6 more races to go and about 50-point gap, are you feeling confident, well, heading into TTS and then 2 German races in Nürburgring and Hockenheim? How are you feeling towards these tracks and battle with your teammate coming into them?
It will be interesting. I think it can go either way, really. So yeah, we'll see. I don't think either of us will change anything in our practice. So yeah, we'll just duke it out on the track.
Alright, I expect more Sparksline and more entertaining results. Good luck to you in the remaining of the season.
Yeah, thank you, and enjoy the show.
We'll certainly do. And I believe this is all we have time for today. Not able to grab all the interviews we would have wanted, but that is, well, gonna be as close as we can get to getting as much information as possible. Round 7 concludes with the commanding win of McLaren Tim, and a bit of a flip-flop battle all across the field for the remaining positions. Next up in a few weeks time, it's gonna be the Dutch scenery of TTS, and as our cars head onto week 8 out of 10-week calendar, we're closer to the championship deciders. A few battles still not resolved, and they might go till the very end. You don't want to miss that as we wrap up the broadcast for today. Thank you so very much for watching, and hope to see y'all guys next time. Until then, this is goodbye.